Howdy, partners, and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, and we're going to step into a review of On Swift Horses. I'm a blind film critic. Click like and subscribe because I, I don't think you have a blind film critic that you're currently subscribed to. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that. So, you never know. You might need a difference in opinion. So, On Swift Horses, I was given advance access to, and that usually means it doesn't have audio description. Although this movie absolutely does have an audio description track when it releases theatrically, so I'm just going to go ahead and review it anyway. Uh, I usually use audio description as a accessibility function, but man, it doesn't matter if I ask for it or not. It's just it's like rarely ever there. So, yeah, On Swift Horses didn't have it, but I did make the effort. And it stars Daisy Edgar-Jones, Will Poulter, Jacob Elordi, and Diego Calva. It's based on a novel, and it is a featured directorial debut. So that could be interesting. It also premiered at the 2024 Toronto Film Festival before also moving domestically and premiering in the US at South by Southwest earlier this year. It's being released by Sony Pictures Classics tomorrow. Yeah. Or I guess that 6 p.m. showings today or something. I don't know. But I don't know how that works anymore. Do they get like the full Thursday? Is it like half Thursday? It seems to be based on like the movie. But I can't imagine On Swift Horses has like daytime showings for kids or something like that. And it's just the audience isn't there. Although this is a fairly tame movie for an LGBT romance, which is what this is. In case you did not know, that is welcome. Welcome to the the least interesting multiverse version of Brokeback Mountain. So um it's not that I didn't like the movie. That sounds like I didn't like the movie. It was okay. But this is a movie that's full of talent and possibility. And when I know that the director who I would bother to learn his name, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't see great things ahead. But he also directed Fellow Travelers, and that was fantastic. I mean, that was full of emotion and longing and yearning, and it wasn't just the graphic sex that made Fellow Travelers interesting. It was the absolute connection, the human connection that everybody had, the yearning, the feeling that the person that they couldn't be, that they couldn't share that with the rest of the world. That is absent here. This feels like what happens when you get like I don't know, like Brett Ratner to direct a gay romance. Like and he's like, I don't know what do those gays do? I've got nothing. As an LGBTQ critic, it's very this is very tame, and there's no longing or yearning or uh, and these actors have a really hard time with the material that they've been given, which is clunky. It's written in the 1950s, post Korean War. Daisy is the lead. I forget all these character names. They're kind of irrelevant. I do remember that Diego Calva was Henry, so I remember that. But other than that, yeah, Daisy is expected to get married, and she keeps getting proposals from Will Poulter, who she just doesn't, for whatever reason, she just doesn't want to be a kept woman, I guess, and just seems to be ignoring them. And then Jacob Elordi, who plays Will's brother in this, shows up, and he's far more charming and has far more personality than Will Poulter does. And they have some sort of chemistry, Daisy and Jacob, but not really sure what it is. There's just sort of like a magnetic energy between the two of them. And she ends up marrying Will based on the idea that she hears that the brothers are planning on buying this house together out in San Diego. So she wants to uh, be a part of this experience. And it seems like at this point that you're going to have, if you know nothing about this movie, that this is going to be a thing where one woman has this relationship between two brothers, but is really loves Jacob Elordi, and ends up making Will Poulter jealous. And I'm thinking, not knowing, not having read the book, I'm like, well, Will Poulter's going to be mad. Somebody's going to end up dead. And no, that's not where the movie goes. Uh, so it ends up being Jacob is like unfulfilled, and he ends up not moving in, and then Daisy gets stuck with Will, who is I know he got an Oscar nomination, but Jesse Plemons was sort of like wallpaper when he got his Oscar nomination. So who knows? Maybe Poulter get an Oscar nomination for being wallpaper in this movie. But it felt like that comparatively to another project that I didn't really like, but actually was in terms of a yearning and longing and that kind of thing that you felt coming out of Benedict Cumberbatch, like the things he couldn't say or do. There was way more of that in but this is just absent. This has Diego Calva is really the only person who actually seems really genuinely interested in anything. Um, Jacob moves to Oakland, where he's a veteran, by the way, who was dishonorably discharged, and he doesn't get his veterans benefits. And so he basically has to kind of do shady things to get through. He ends up meeting Henry, played by Diego Calva, and they kind of have instant chemistry, although you would barely know it if it wasn't for Diego acting his face off in this movie. Jacob's okay. He's fine, but the film just doesn't give them the time. They're the far more the interesting thing here. Daisy, it's funny because it's her movie, and she's not given much at all. And Will Poulter is basically just to, you know, stand there and look pretty. I don't know. So their thing is more interesting because they're both good at, swindling these casinos. They end up getting One of them ends up getting a job so that they can work and watch the floor, and then they get an idea that they can run games on. First they want to do it on the casino they work at, and then Jacob was like, nah, let's not do that. So they end up having to do it on others. Kind of spoiling a little bit of the movie here, but I'm trying to get you guys to understand like the general sort of malaise of these relationships and like where these people are, because it feels almost like lackadaisical at times. Like we're like, well, we're in love. Are we? I don't know. How do we show it? You got me. There just isn't, it doesn't feel like there's an intensity and yearning. So their thing sort of plays out. Meanwhile, Daisy is, she's trying to make the best of her life, living like a ranch house, and she keeps trying to get Jacob to come visit. And she works a job and learns about race tracks and betting on horses, and ends up winning some money. And there's a story that evolves eventually with her and another woman. So she gets involved in a lesbian relationship. We get the whole like secret gay bar thing that happens in the 1950s in here that's thrown in. And Will Poulter just still continues to exist, and really just eventually just kind of realizes, I don't need to be here, do I? It's kind of his big moment in the movie is, why am I here? And they kind of give him that as a speech. Um, so the good things. The score is really nice. I like the score. I don't think it's going to get nominated for anything, but I did like the score. There's a cool original song in it that I think really helps to highlight the movie. It's not long, so you're not going to get overly bored by sort of the lack of dramatic tension or character development or romantic entanglement or lack of many other things that you would want to find in a movie like this. Uh, Performances, Uh, Diego wins, then Jacob, then honestly, the actress whose name I forgot because I'm less familiar with her, who plays the lesbian that Daisy falls in love with, then Daisy, then Will. Probably the five main cast members that you would need to know anything about. Will is just not given anything to do. His whole thing is to just be cuckolded just the whole time. Just sit there and just stare at life as it passes him by, and to try to be the steady man who just is. You feel bad for him because he's just trying to have like a normal life, and the life is just passing him by, has just given up on him. Daisy's just really not into him. She'd rather do anything but be at home. And his brother is off doing something else. And there are some nice moments. There's a moment where eventually Will and Jacob get to see each other again, and Will basically says, "I know who you are. I just want my brother," which I thought was a nice moment. So that movie does have beats, and there are a couple moments between Diego and Jacob that are nice beats between them, but you can't help but want more from these characters. They all feel like they're really sort of underdeveloped, and there isn't much there to them. And I got this without audio description because, and I did connect the dots by sort of doing a little bit of research on the movie. I was like, I'm pretty certain this is what happens. Yep, that's what's happening. Yep, that's what's happening. And everybody else has kind of agreed the movie felt tame. I kind of felt that it was tame without the audio description. It felt like there wasn't really a lot of, you know, complications. It kind of, it feels in a time period where it was even, I mean, even far more dangerous to be who you were out in public, and people were really trying to hide in these secret clubs and meeting at people's houses, and it was far more clandestine than even having a bar that people sort of openly knew. These were sort of like bars that masqueraded, and you sort of hid maybe in like the basement. Like they were like secretly, like there was a back room, and like there was a front room that looked like it was, and then in the back room was where the fun was. So yeah, it doesn't really feel like that. It needs something. It needs that yearning, that experience, that longing. There's there have been other films like this that we've seen where you just feel that. It's what people liked about Brokeback Mountain. I mean, obviously, it was known for being like the gay cowboy movie, and the sex scene between Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal, I think, threw people off in 2006. Uh, but it was just the way that the actors were in a space together that felt like that they couldn't breathe if they weren't in that space together. And that sort of lacks here. There's nobody that really feels like they need to be with anybody. Diego is trying to pull that out of his experience with Jacob, but the film just doesn't really give them the beats to do that. So it's an interesting exploration of a time period, but it's very surface level. It's very odd that this is Sony Pictures Classics because it feels like the kind of film that uh, wouldn't get picked up by Sony Pictures Classics and would end up sort of getting picked up by another distributor, and we'd wonder why a film with this cast ended up with that distributor, and then you're just like, oh, well, this is why, because it doesn't feel like it's an eventful movie, like the kind of movie that's really going to uh, pull in an audience and cause them to talk or think about the movie, or think about queer culture, anything like that. It just kind of falls short. Is it awful? No, God, no, no, it's not awful, but it is inadequate, and it is lacking in substantive material in terms of being able to support the themes that it's trying to push through. It just has a lot of things where it's just, you know, kind of comes easy, but it never goes too deep. And that's really on Swift Horses. So you can catch it, and and see it. I don't know. I look at film festivals, I'm like, this was also I could have seen that at the Florida Film Festival. This was here recently. I didn't see it at Florida Film Festival. It's for a film that is like this, I'm sorry, I'm surprised it's been doing the festival circuit. I guess it's, like, somewhat artistic, in nature, like, it definitely feels like an indie, like, it feels like the kind of film that doesn't get a 3,000 screen release, absolutely, this feels like the film that gets, some screens and then platforms or whatever from there, but it's not good enough to do that, so it's probably gonna open wide, because if it were to open in New York and LA, it would never go wide. Because it would never get the kind of following behind it. So it would never really break beyond maybe like 50 screens, and then it would just be on video on demand and then Netflix. So it's probably going to go pretty wide and then just open to like 1.5 to $2 million and then just fade out from there. These are very promising, bright young actors, and they'll all survive the film. Uh, I think, you know, Diego does a great job. And at the end of the day, I'm sitting here, and this is a very sort of like, it's almost like right down the middle for me, um, in terms of things that I liked and didn't like. And there are parts of the story, it's like I like where the story's going, but I always wanted to do more. I always wanted there to be more. I always wanted the director to hold on a shot or to pull more out of the actors. So it's not like, it's like the core of this thing is good. I think the book is probably great. I just think that this doesn't explore where it needs to go. Um, so I hate to say it, but I'm gonna give On Swift Horses a C. It's a coin toss for me as to whether or not I do fresh or rotten, because it's like that's the middle for me, and that's the strongest thing that I can say is Diego Calva. And I don't know that he's strong enough for me to say fresh, for me to want to pull it above. So I probably would end up going rotten on Unswift Forces. So that would not be a strong recommend. But it's also not a strong not recommend either. It's just it's going to end up becoming deeply forgettable. 10 years from now, you won't even remember you saw a movie called On Swift Horses. It'll just be gone from your memory. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.